Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to Remember 11, the Age of Infinity. Now, let's keep going now. Last time, Satoru got a pretty close brush with death, and luckily Itsumi was not holding too bad a grudge. So let's go. Oops, let me get the mouse out of there.
繰り返すけど、あなたに迷惑をかけるつもりはないの。分かって。
I spotted with a question aimed at her hunched back.
じゃあ、やっぱり
Not
ま
from
だ
Notre Dame, is she?
小鳥のことを。
これでも止めるつもり？彼女はあなたを殺そうとしたのよ。
She removed her hand from the snow. Hang it dry, she
万が
approached
一
me.
薬を飲まそうとしたのが小鳥だったとしても、殺意があったかどうかはわからないだろ。殺すつもりだったなら DMT なんかいらなかったはずだ。それに2日前にあんたは言ったよな。魔王阻害剤は48時間以内に食べ物を口にしていなければ、俺はこのスフィアで丸2日間以上何も食べていない。そのことは小鳥も気づいてたと思うが。
そうかしら。彼女は DID なのよ。人格が入れ替わっていた時のことは知りようがないわ。
人格が入れ替わっていた。
Those words grabbed me. Has it only the Satoru personality appeared in Inubushi Keiko for the past few days? If that's the case, then a different personality could have assumed control without my knowledge.
あなたと同じよ。
俺と？
あなただって冬川さんになっている時の記憶はないんでしょ？考えてみて。もしも冬川さんがあなたの代わりにチラミを含有する食品を口にしていたとしたら、
死んでたと？
そういうことになるわね。
だけど俺はこうして生きてるじゃないか。
重要なのは可能性があったのかどうかよ。未必の恋って知ってる？
実害の発生を積極的に希望、ないしは自分の行為により結果として実害が発生しても構わない。
明確な殺意がなかったとしても、死んでも構わないという思惑はあったのかもしれない。
そんな。
率直に言わせてもらうけど、あなたが今生きていられるのは奇跡よ。何も食べなかったのはただの偶然なんじゃない？違う？このことよく考えてみた方がいいと思うわ。
Soon bent over again to scoop up more snow. She picked up a handful and flung it away, tracing its arc with her eyes. There was no wind, and a thin mist of snow drifted like a veil in the air.
寒くなってきたわね。戻りましょう。
Without waiting for my reply, Tsumi disappeared into the building, leaving me behind. Scooped up the snow just as Tsumi had. Tried to grasp it, but just as before, my fingers were completely numb. After turning to my room, I tottered over to my bed and flung myself down. DMT, the Mao inhibitor. Did Satoru make Kokoro take it? Was it Kokoro herself? Why? What end? Willful negligence? If that was the case, then who had willfully done it? Incoherent thoughts flitted through my head. Last night, the man calling himself Inamoto had died. The idea of Inamoto being the one trying to kill me did pass through my mind, but the Mao inhibitor, assuming that my body consuming it was the result of willful negligence, then just like before, someone trying to kill me. Was that it? If so, then there's no way the late Inamoto could have done it. This would mean that there was a chance Inamoto had been completely uninvolved in the past attempts on my life. The true culprit elsewhere? I let out a sigh. I had to leave a message for Kokoro. Even one line would be fine. Who was it that made you take the drug? But the moment I decided to do that and went to get up, yep. Okay. Very well. A dense ocean coiled around me as if to lap over my whole body. I felt as if I were being embraced by a sea teeming with coacervate. Okay, I'm sure I said that horribly wrong. Had this dream before. The primordial sea. Wait a second. Nah, surely not. Surely they're not actually babies or something. Are they? Kokoro and Satoru twins that are somehow their personalities are going. They wouldn't explain Kokoro, but it would explain Satoru not remembering. Well, no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't explain how he knew Mayuzumi from before. I don't know. I felt as if this whole vast sea were myself, and that there were no singular entity in existence here. My surroundings were completely saturated by a dazzling red light, a rhythmic sound, and a sweet scent that felt as if it would dissolve. I felt as though I were drowning in this comfortable warmth. Okay. Okay, I couldn't remember if they went back after that whole event. I was kind of thinking maybe they didn't, since that this device was not under Inamoto's control. Immediately felt an intense cold cutting through me. A transfer, understood right away. I, in Kokoro's body, was curled up on a bed in the shelter cabin, wrapped up in blankets. My arms hugged my shoulders. No matter how much I willed them to, my arms and legs wouldn't stop shaking. It was already beyond shivering. I was convulsing spasmodically, my whole body trembling uncontrollably. Excuse me. The cold assailed me from all sides, rattling my bones and threatening to crush me. Everything in my mind before the transfer to DMT, the MAO inhibitor, was all blown away in an instant. All that mattered right now was preserving my own life. Everything else was mere luxury. Had to overcome this. That's what I wanted to do, but my head wasn't working properly. Even my blood had frozen in my veins. Oh, is this where he eats that stuff? Ooh, there was that part, wasn't there? No oxygen or nutrients for nourishing my brain. I'm just thinking about thinking, getting nowhere. Thinking about thinking. Worthless, empty thoughts whirl in my head. Cold. I'm going to lose it for real if this keeps up. I was in a dangerous situation, walking in the thin line between reason and instinct. Hung my head and continued struggling against the unwieldy desires budding inside me. A life or death battle. And before long, I felt the temperature inside the cabin rise a little, but only a little. My frozen blood slowly began to flow through my body again. The cold cord around my spine finally loosened. It was still painfully cold, but somewhat better than before. My mind, too, gained a little leeway to think. Raising my head, I looked around the room again. My field of vision expanded. I noticed something that I hadn't been able to earlier. Yomogi, Lin, and Uni. For the first time I realized they were all there. They were scattered around the room and shaking as though on the verge of death. If it weren't for the shivering, I'd have taken them for dead. Other than that, none of them moved in the slightest. Maybe Yomogi's knees are frozen to the wall over there. That'd be a bit painful. Their pupils were dry and hollow like clouded marbles. The breath escaping their lips was thin, frail, and shallow, as though each one could be their last. I struck by how much they changed. How could they have fallen apart so quickly in only one night? What in the world happened to them during such a short period? Cold may have abated, but my numbed lips wouldn't return to normal so easily. I asked them in a voice as dried out as a desert wind. But nobody said anything. Yomogi simply stared back at me with cloudy eyes. crawled frantically out of bed to confirm it, opened the door of the stove, and peered inside. Only black and charcoal remained.
なんでこんなことに。燃料はどうしたんだ。テーブルや椅子を薪にしたんじゃなかったのか。
有機道君だね。この状況を見ればわかるだろう。
A cracked voice escaped from Yomugi's emaciated body.
状況って。
Quietly looked around me. All the firewood that had been piled up in the corner of the room was gone. Only the axe leaning against the wall
もう燃
remained.
やすものは何もないんだ。小屋を壊すわけにはいかないしね。
His voice brimmed with hopelessness. Peered into the stove again. I reached a hand in to fill the charcoal. Not a trace of warmth. The cinders were ice cold. 2 more days until the rescue team arrives. In this cabin, having finally run out of fuel, they would have to survive 2 more long, cold nights. Can they really hold out until then? If they at least had some rations. If only there was something for them to eat.
そうだ、食料だ。食料はまだ残ってるんだよな。
I said, turning to face him. Yomugi answered softly.
少しだけなら。
どこにあるんだ。
食べるつもりか。
いや、そういうわけじゃ。どのぐらい残ってるのか知りたいだけだ。
君が持ってるはずだよ。
え、俺が？
食料の管理は君に、冬川さんに任せてあるんだ。
The moment he said that, I rushed back to the bed. The bottom bunk. The blankets I'd thrown off earlier were all over the place. I pulled them back, a cylindrical object rolled onto the bed. From writing on its surface, I knew at a glance that it was a can of hardtack biscuits. Try opening the lid. It was empty. Found nothing resembling food inside, just countless crumbs all over the bed.
なんだ。
I used a fingertip to pick one up. Crumbs of
どう
hardtack.
したんだい？
I heard from over my
いや、
shoulder.
なんでもない。
Frantically covered the empty can and the crumbs with a blanket as a temporary measure. I looked over my shoulder with what I hoped was a calm expression. Yomugi inclined his head suspiciously. Oh, crap. Before he could notice what was on the bed, I quickly got up and moved away from it.
見ただろう？あれで全部なんだ。他に食べられるものはないんだ。
そうか。
My voice sounded dangerously shrill. I intended to behave naturally, but my throat felt dry and cramped. I kept talking to him, it'd all be over. I turned away to crouch in front of the stove. The cold stove that held no flame. What the hell? What the hell were you thinking, Kokoro? I screamed in my mind. I covered my face with my palms and furiously scrubbed at it. Didn't want anyone to see the face I was making. So, neither of them ate it. You know, I was saying before, I thought there might be a third personality. Got an idea. What if that frozen lady that Kokoro found was pregnant? I don't know, with twins. It looked like it was twins in the sonogram thingy, and in the thing they sometimes pop into the babies. Oh my gosh, it's a really horrible sentence, but I guess that's the way to take it. they switch personalities with the children, the babies, and the babies are doing what babies feel they need to do. Consume. So if that, what type of it looked kind of like a Pringles top with the hardtack biscuits. Does the baby know how to operate that? An unborn child would be. Well, here's the thing with the, I guess instinct. I don't know. Instinct would be making it do that. It was baby is the one who killed Inamoto too, because neither Kokoro nor Satoru, from their perspective, killed Inamoto. I don't know, that's a pretty crazy theory. But, and it doesn't, yeah, I don't know. There's the other thing would be, why would it have happened then? If it hadn't been happening, I mean, they haven't mentioned that suddenly Kokoro and Satoru would start talking baby talk, or whatever a grown person would sound like, that a baby would utter with their vocal cords, with adult vocal cords. But yeah, I do remember something about, I don't think they ever explained very much. She just, was that even in the real, was it even in the final ending of Kokoro's Route, or was it on one of the ones where you die? Where she dies, I should say. Oh, I think it's when she gets back, isn't it? Okay, we're gonna go. Now I'm kind of curious to see what, with that theory, what Kokoro's ending was. Again, when she was talking there at the end. Okay, I'm gonna get back to it. My hand still over my face again to think. First, those scraps. Yomogi said that Kokoro was the one in charge of the rations. But those vital rations had vanished, leaving nothing more than crumbs behind. Why? I need to think about that one. Kokoro must have eaten them. Now I think about it, I haven't felt truly hungry since I transferred. The other three are practically wasting away, but I can still move around the room. My body is the only one with any energy left. Kokoro, why did you eat them all? Was your hunger so impossible to bear that you couldn't take it anymore? Driven by instincts that had overwritten your reason? So Kokoro took the rations, and isn't that just too cruel, Kokoro? The fact that everyone entrusted their supplies to you meant that they trusted you, right? And you double-crossed them. I know you had it in you to do such a thing. Suddenly the events of last night resurfaced in my mind. That scene I'd witnessed in the basement of Spia. The slaughtered corpse of Inamoto. My left hand firmly clutching the bloodstained knife. Come to think of it, Kokoro was the one who killed that man so brutally. If we assume that what she did that time was in self-defense, then was this an emergency measure? Well, I had nothing to do with this anymore. In a crisis like this, such hithy justification is of no use whatsoever. Rather, because we've been driven up against a wall like this, our regard for humanity and morals need to be that much higher. Isn't that right, Kokoro? What in the world happened to you? What changed you this much? Change. And maybe that wasn't it. Maybe the woman called Fuyukawa Kokoro had been capable of committing such terrible acts from the very beginning. Let's check her wallet. Oh man, she has so many Hitman services written in her book. Dang it. And there's like 5 different gun shops, the martial arts. Wow, you know, I wish I'd read this sooner. Otherwise I would have known I was sharing a body with a killer. Oh, and there's so many things listed under M for Mafia, or in Japan it'd be Yakuza, under Y, wouldn't it? Say that corpse went well beyond the domain of justifiable self-defense. Even though everyone trusted you with the rations, you turned the tables on them and ate them all. The more I think about it, the less I understand Fuyukawa Kokoro. Want to believe in her, want to have faith in her, but... Hey Kokoro, just what should I do? Grasping at straws now, I took out the voice recorder. No new messages, how discouraging. Couldn't think of anything to say to her from here. Heaved a sigh and put the recorder back. Checked the time on the wristwatch on my right wrist. Present time 3:15. Can't say with any accuracy what time the transfer occurred. I should be at the shelter cabin for a period of 33 minutes. When would that next transfer occur? 5 minutes from now? 10? 15? Since the interval of time so vague, it's pretty hard to tell. An ominous atmosphere hung over the small room. It reeked out of a decay that dogged our every footstep. I suddenly choked. I needed fresh air. Without stopping to consider the consequences, I headed for the door.
死にたいのか
As I put my hand on the doorknob, Yomugi uttered that sizzling
死ぬ前に
sentence.
は戻ってくれ
And with that reply, I opened the door. Maybe he didn't even have the strength left to stand, but Yomugi made no other move to stop me.
え、晴れてる
A refreshing cloudless winter sky. A thin light blue film covered the sky, the sun already sinking into the west, cast an intense light over everything. Reflected across the vast snowfield, it spread itself across the silver powder that surrounded me. I squinted against its brilliance. The glittering sunlight woke a memory buried within me.
君たちは人格交換。人格が転移をしているんじゃない。
Yeah, technically, all he really needs to do is just get him out of that 100 and... What was it, 113 meter diameter? Whatever number around that, that's divisible by 11, I'm pretty sure. I don't know that math, but anyway, yeah. Technically, all he has to do is do that. They'd actually be safe because then they go to Sophia. And I'm sure they'd be happy to be there, you know, with Hattori, and I'm sure Uni would get very confused with himself.
本当に転移しているのは空間。空間自体が転移しているんだよ。正確に言えば空間が時間を飛び越えて転移している。つまりは
時空間転移
That's right, that's it. How could I forget something so important? This isn't Mount Akakura, we're on Aosagi Island. My consciousness never leaves the Aosagi Island of 2012. That means the sky I see right now is the sky seen from Aosagi Island. Of course it'd be sunny, because the sky I saw at Sophia is the same sky I'm looking up at right now.
そうか気温が上がったのもこのせいだったのか
Said the magazine I found in my room at Sophia. From the 15th until daybreak on the 17th, the whole Mount Akakura was in the midst of a severe storm. In short, just before this transfer occurred, the shelter cabin had been exposed to an intense cold. I couldn't move right after transfer because of the cold. Understood, I've grasped the situation now. This is the Aosagi Island of 2012. The consciousness never jumped across time, rather in the area of 110 meters. Okay, 110, I did remember that about right. In radius, with the cabin at its center, was transported to this world. Then what should my next move? Then what should be my next move? Simple. I'll lead the three from the shelter cabin out of the circle. To do that, then we won't be dragged into the space-time transfer anymore. That means that we'll all end up a year in the future, but now isn't the time to be worrying about the law of cause and effect. Your life is irreplaceable. What would happen if I sent them back to the Mount Akakura of 2011? Ooh. Without food or fuel, it's hard to survive on a snowy mountain for very long. For the sake of argument, even if they could hold out until the 17th, according to history, all that waits them is a horrible death buried alive in an avalanche. No, wait. Wait. Am I forgetting something important here? Uni. He's not the Uni of 2011. Though he may act that way, he's not. The Uni here, both in mind and body, is from the year 2012. Told me himself last night. No mistake about it. But why he lied about it and why he returned to the shelter cabin like this in the first place, still don't know for sure. What should I do? I'm going to the next transfer. Whatever the case, I'm afraid I don't have time to press him for an answer. He does have quite the predicament there. I mean, we know technically that he doesn't, or at least the help he does get is later on, so let me go ahead and call it there though. Yeah, pretty interesting going on, if I say so. And we know that guess we don't have to go through that whole awkward situation of with Kokoro now though. That's kind of a bonus. Yeah, I'm pretty curious to see if my theory is even somewhat accurate. It seems like it might be possible, but it probably is quite out there. Anyway, I do sincerely hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Farewell.